All right, guys, let's talk about the 8 GB GPU and why I cover it and why I think it's important and why I take it seriously. To give you guys some reference, I started PC gaming a little over 3 years ago. I bought into PC gaming at a time when I was starting to feel pretty unsatisfied with PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. So I listened to the community telling me, oh man, you need to go PC, it's better over here. And I did. I took the bait. I bought the PC. I went into it thinking, oh man, yeah, $1,700. You know, we're at the height of the freaking COVID thing. You know, chip shortage. I end up getting a 3060 Ti pre-built from HP. I bought the HP Omen. I come home. And obviously, you know, it's pretty good. You know, I'm sitting here, I'm on a 3060. I'm trying to play some of the games that are out. You know, obviously we're a cross-generation period right then. You know, I'm trying to play games like Spider-Man. It just finally came out on PC. I'm trying to play games like Callisto Protocol. I'm trying to play these games. Okay, some of them like Ghost. The first game I beat on PC was Ghostwire Tokyo. And so I'm sitting there, I'm playing this game. At that time, I had a 1440p monitor or a 4K and a 4K TV. I played a lot, you know, on like the 1440p, maxing out the settings, you know, letting me use the ray tracing. I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And then I'd start to get to other games that just weren't like gonna do well at like 1440p or like 4K. Trust me, it was all because of my insistence on using ultra settings, because I'm like, dang it, I came from console, I don't want to make sacrifices. I paid $1,700 for this. It's 3 times more than the freaking PC or than the console. It had better freaking give me what I paid for, okay? So obviously I went into it with a completely trash, terrible mindset. And that only fueled things and made me angrier after I bought a 3080 and was still doing the same stuff. Still couldn't figure out how to figure out the PC space. And that consistently kept pushing me. You know, and then the next generation comes out. We get the 40 series. We get the AMD side of things. You know, with the RDNA 3. So I go straight to the second highest card AMD has at the 7900 XT, and I'm like, if this doesn't make things better, I'm done with PC. And to be completely fair, the 7900 XT was such a beast of a GPU. Even at 1440p, okay, because I'm at that stage where I'm like, oh my gosh, 1440p, it looks incredible. It's got this, and so I'm at this stage, you know, like coming into this knowledge of like, oh my gosh, dude, 1440p is awesome. It looks great, and I get good frame rate, and I'm like, dude, the 7900 XT, absolutely powered through 1440p, was giving me an incredible experience. I'm sitting here, I'm happy as a clam. I'm playing games at high resolution or at 1440p. I'm sitting here on this GPU, and I'm going back and I'm testing like older games, and I'm like, yeah, I could push them to 8K and downsample. And I start getting into this like downsampling thing, you know, using FSR, all kinds of stuff like that to push it to 4K and then downsample it to 1440p to make the image quality look even better. And I'm just having a freaking blast. Like, I'm just fully enjoying this PC experience. It's like completely lifted me out of this dark period that I was going through with NVIDIA, just having these unrealistic expectations for these NVIDIA GPUs, because people legitimately put them on a pedestal, and they're just like you mentioned to anybody that like, hey man, AMD is my brand of choice, and people like legit look at you weird, like why would you do that? NVIDIA is the best. Like, well, what are you thinking? People like legitimately think AMD is so trash that they'd be like, why don't you just get a 3060 instead of a freaking 7900 XTX from AMD? Like, legit thinking that like NVIDIA's lowest end card would ever even compare to the highest end card of AMD. That is how delusional the PC community is. And it's not necessarily the smart people. I'm starting to get to a point where it's like, okay, I can transcend any GPU on PC and find a playable experience. Once you get to this level where I'm at right now, you start to really understand the ins and outs of PC gaming. I mean, I don't know everything, but I understand enough to where I could legit be happy gaming on a 5050 while everybody's crying about their 5090 not being able to do Cyberpunk 4K native at 60 frames a second. I could legit find happiness on a 5050 while these people are freaking out on their 5090s for $3,000. Oh, yeah. And so once you get to that level, guys, and then you look back, you know, after like all this fun that I've been having over the last couple of years with AMD, you know, and AMD really is my place to play. Like, I absolutely love AMD. Like, everything about it, I just feel so at home. I feel comfortable on AMD. Like, I absolutely love it. Now, that doesn't mean NVIDIA is bad or anything like that, or that I don't like NVIDIA. I've had an incredible experience with the Blackwell architecture this generation, using features like MFG 4X, with a controller, guys. You got to understand that. Like, that makes a massive difference. With a controller, using the features, using DLSS4 to really crank it up. I've had an incredible time with Blackwell. But yes, AMD is still my 100%. Like, I freaking love AMD. So the whole thing with 8GB GPUs, my friends, and this is the main crux of this video. If you cannot be satisfied or find a way to be satisfied on an 8GB GPU in today's gaming, I don't think anything's going to satisfy you. Okay? Because once you start paying more money for these GPUs, your expectations get higher and higher and higher. And you are at a point where clearly if you're spending $1,000 on a GPU, you've got either a nice 4K display or you've got a great 1440p monitor or one of the above, okay? Like, if you can't find a way to be satisfied with a lower end GPU, then I don't think anything's gonna really satisfy you to a point where you're just gonna be happy all the time. Like, if you can find solace if you can find satisfaction at 8GB on one of these low-end GPUs, these 60 class cards, then like the world of PC is really going to open up to you in a way that you've never even imagined. You know, going down and getting like a native 1080p display, getting 1440p, 4K, all of like, if you can legit find a way to be satisfied at 1080p on an 8GB GPU, trust and believe, my friends, your PC experience is going to be significantly better, because no longer are you going to be trapped in these unrealistic expectations that you set for yourself. Like I said in the other video the other day, it might be a humbling experience to try to come down to like 8GB or something. I 100% get that. Like, I know what I'm asking you to do is not what you want to hear. Let's be real. It's not what you want to hear. You don't want to hear, I need to reset my expectations and come back down. Like, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. But if you don't, my friends, you're only opening up the door to consistent negativity, to being let down all the time. I mean, I watch as, you know, other content creators, you know, have found a level of success on YouTube that it is more efficient to just be the best at making everybody know that you don't like a product, and really find ways to like be original about your disdain for everything. I'm on Twitter the other day, on X, and I'm reading some posts, and I got and Cole Eastwood pops up, okay? And he's talking about how, wow, man, Star Wars Outlaws, I'm finally giving the game a chance. It's not as bad as it's something along the lines of like, wow, man, it's actually pretty good, minus a few like nitpicks or whatever. I'm like, bro, I've been playing it since day one. It was good day one. It's good now. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it going to win Game of the Year? No, dude. Ubisoft tax. And I just look at it because there's so many times that I will tell people till I'm blue in the face, look, man, the game is fine. The game is good. Not just Star Wars Outlaws. I mean, Forspoken. It's got some of the coolest freaking movement and combat and magic, and it is cool. Like, that is the gameplay loop. It is cool. You get to explore this world. You get to do some cool ass parkour. Like, who gives a shit about the story? Like, that's not always the main thing of the game. Like, sometimes the gameplay is just enough for it to be a decent experience, to consume your time, to give you something. Not everything can be a AAA banger that has the perfect story with the perfect gameplay. Like, I don't think that game exists. But there are some damn close ones. There are some games that are like Death Stranding 2, absolutely phenomenal. That game is probably one of the most well-crafted, built, like, attention to detail, deep story narrative. Like, oh my gosh, no, there's a reason why I have crowned that as my favorite game of all time, because it literally is the closest thing to perfect that I've ever played in my life. And you know, guys, I look at that, just how people, just how social media in general forces people to essentially, it doesn't force you. Like, obviously you can make good, clean content and stay above on things. You know, that's what I'm trying to do here. That's what I'm trying to do here. You know, when it comes to 8GB GPUs, if you can find satisfaction in a gaming experience on an 8GB GPU, I think that'd be good for you. I honestly do. I think that you will be a stronger individual and you will have more control over your gaming experience if you can learn to appreciate and utilize an 8GB GPU. Like, look, every single one of those 8GB GPUs and all of those right there, aside from like aside from the freaking, you know, the AMD cards that were sent out to me, every single one of them cards to this point equals a 5090. Like, I've literally invested that much into into these GPUs, and you know, I could turn around and sell them all and get a 5090 if I wanted. I just don't. I personally, at this point in my life, I just don't feel like that's necessary to just have one. I'm gaining so much knowledge and I'm having so much fun, especially playing around on these 8GB cards, like the 5050, like forcing myself literally to try to figure out how to play games on this GPU and still have fun. And to be completely fair to NVIDIA and AMD, these 8GB GPUs that they build, I'm sure they continue to build them for a reason. You know, the excuse is, hey man, people are still buying them, they're really popular, they're esports GPUs. You know, obviously we can get them into system integrators and they can build like pre-built PCs for a lower price, lower cost of entry. Trust and believe, guys, as much as you want to rail against the 8GB GPU, it really does lower the barrier to get people into PC gaming. Now, is an 8GB GPU going to play everything you want to play? The settings? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're going to come into an 8GB GPU. I call it the rite of passage for PC gaming. You're going to come into this GPU. You're going to have these expectations because obviously, you know, the cost of PC up front is, you know, more, okay? It's definitely more than a console. So you're going to come into it, but I guarantee you're going to find enough games on an 8GB GPU that's going to the hooks are going to be set. The hooks are going to be set. Okay? Then that's all that matters. That's all that really matters, because you as a PC gamer, me as a PC gamer, we all went through this and we're all still here. We're all still on PC. But the hooks were set, bro. The hooks were set with that 8 gigabyte GPU. The hooks were set back when you bought that 4 gigabyte GPU, when you started, or when you bought your 1 gigabyte GPU, or your 2 gigabyte, or before they were even gigabytes on a freaking GPU. The hook was set, okay? That's all that those GPUs, that's all they need to do is set the hook, okay? It just has to perform really good on a few games that you really like to set the hook. It just has to power past what the Xbox Series X and PS5 can do. And I can tell you this right now, dude, the 9060 XT, 8 gigabyte, absolutely has done that already for me. Playing like Cyberpunk at 4K with ultra performance, with ray tracing on, already better, you know, using frame generation, all of that already gives you a better performance, a better experience than you can get on the console at 4K, okay? On a 9060 8 gigabyte card that costs $299 already gives me a significantly better experience than I get on an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5. PS4 Pro, I haven't tested the patch yet, but I'm hearing a lot of good things about that, so it might be a little bit more of a push and pull on that one, but still you're not getting the ray tracing. So the 9060 XT is performing better than PS5 Pro in this game, and that's all it needs to do. That's all it needs to do. It just needs to blow your freaking mind one time above and beyond what you're already getting on the PS5 Pro or the Xbox Series X or anything. That's all it has to do, my friends. It just has to blow your mind one time. And the hook is set. So when I look at the constant negativity about like 8 gigabyte GPUs, look, your hook's already been set, man. I understand. 8 gigabyte GPU is probably not for you. Your hook is set, you want something more, but what do? Your next option is the 9060 XT 16 gigabyte. That is the card I recommend for everybody. If you can push past that $50 barrier, if you can do that, then your experience is going to be significantly better and it's going to last you longer. But if you got an 8 gigabyte GPU, please allow me to help you figure out how to make your games look good. Please allow me to help you enjoy that experience more than you're going to on your own, because you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get upset. You're going to go through the emotions, and then you are going to end up blowing way more money than you absolutely need to try to chase this thing, and it's just going to keep disappointing you, because the more you spend on PC gaming, the more disappointed you are going to be when it does not do what you thought it should do, okay? So please allow me to help you to be positive about the 8 gigabyte GPU, because look, this is going to be the rite of passage for a lot of PC gamers that are unsuspecting. Sitting here telling everybody, not everybody watches that, bro. You think Jimmy's daddy is over at Best Buy right now watching freaking Hardware Unboxed? No, Jimmy's daddy doesn't even know who freaking Hardware Unboxed is. They don't know who Frog Boy X1 Gaming is. They don't know anything, man. They're gonna pull it up. They're gonna look it up, and the little AI thing is gonna tell them, yeah, it'll work for Roblox. They don't give a shit. That's what their kid's playing. They're gonna buy the 8 gigabyte GPU, and then Jimmy's gonna grow up, and Jimmy's gonna want to play other games, and Jimmy's gonna be like, oh, gee, Pa, I need a better. You know what I mean? That's the way I'm looking at it, okay? I'm looking at it from the unsuspecting parent that's going to be the one paying for this stuff, because Jimmy's 12 and Jimmy can't afford. Jimmy doesn't have a job, okay? Jimmy doesn't have a job, so Bob, his dad, is going to buy the cheapest shit available at Best Buy, at Walmart, at freaking wherever he's going, okay? He's going to order the cheapest one off of Amazon. So, look. And the unsuspecting console gamer that just, you know, everybody's like, you got to go PC. They're going to cheap out. We know they're going to cheap out, and then they're going to be back over here on YouTube trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And it's all they're going to do is get inundated with so much negativity about 8 gigabyte GPUs that it's going to make them mad. They're going to be pissed, and then they're going to come back and they're going to freak out on everybody because, let's just teach them how to use PC gaming, guys. An 8 gigabyte GPU, honestly, guys, I kind of feel like it's a must, a prerequisite for buying PC gaming. I don't know. In today's gaming on PC, we just have everybody legit telling us everything's trash when it's not. Even an 8 gigabyte GPU with it can give you a better experience than a PS5 Pro. Better image quality, better performance, everything. Okay, like it can do that. So when I look at that, when I look at some of these games, like some games like Indiana Jones or other games that have like heavy ray tracing and path tracing, yeah, you're right, dude. These 8 gigabyte GPUs are gonna struggle. Oh yeah, dude, you're paying $299 for an 8 gigabyte GPU. Like, if you want path tracing and all of that kind of stuff, then yeah, you're probably gonna be looking a little bit further down the stack if you want a more stable experience. And if you're okay with using the features, you can usually get away with, you know, like $700 to $800, maybe $1,000. If you want to, it doesn't even matter because a 5090 still has to use the features. Okay, so it doesn't matter. That argument is moot. Okay, it's completely moot. If you cannot even play games native maxed out on a freaking $3,000 GPU, that argument is moot. Okay, like you have to use the features, so just accept them and let's move forward with that already. But you can still do that with these lower end GPUs. This is an interesting predicament that we find ourselves in as PC gamers, and it is kind of scary. Like I am there with everybody, you know, because look, the next best thing after this is streaming. Like we're gonna be streaming our games. If yeah, I don't know. As soon as they can find a way to take more from us and give us, yeah, like I get it. I warned about this a while back in videos, and nobody seemed to care back then when DLSS is the best. You're stupid for buying AMD. Look, I love AMD. I like NVIDIA Blackwell too. I think it's pretty cool. It definitely gives you some options to really be able to play your games, and I like that. Like going forward, I just want a smooth experience. I just want to be able to play games day one when they come out and fully enjoy them. So look guys, 8 gigabyte GPUs are not going anywhere for a little while. Obviously, like I said in an earlier video, next generation GPUs, 8 gigabytes at that point will probably not be enough when the new console generation comes out. They probably won't, but for right now, you can spend $300 and you can still use your GPU. There are legitimately thousands of games, thousands upon thousands of games that you can play on an 8 gigabyte GPU, no problem whatsoever. And these are the fastest, strongest 60 class cards that have ever been made. So yes, they are very potent cards, and there are thousands of games that are going to absolutely run spectacularly on these GPUs. But yeah, that is going to keep you from buying $70. Wait a minute. You might actually be able to save money if you buy an 8 gigabyte GPU. That'll keep you from spending $70 on some of these newer games. Honestly, guys, if you're paying $300 for a GPU, I'm not exactly sure. Like maybe you are. I mean, I just don't see these guys out there buying $70 games, AAA bangers. I see them more buying games that are on sale. And games like Cyberpunk now, 5 years old, yeah, I definitely see people buying that game. Witcher 3, I definitely see people buying that game. It's old enough now, and it got ray tracing and all of that stuff that works on an 8 gigabyte GPU. So I see people being able to play a really healthy back catalog of games. I mean, Battlefield 1, it's got freaking ray tracing. There's a lot of early ray tracing games out there that run just fine on these GPUs. So it's not like you can't utilize these features on some of these games now. Yeah, going forward, it's going to be a little bit tougher. Some of these Unreal Engine games at low settings they actually run pretty fair on an 8 gigabyte GPU, and they still look pretty good. So I don't get it. Like I do get it, but then I don't get it. I don't get the constant abuse that 8 gigabyte has to take over some of this stuff. We as content creators need to be a lot better with the communities at explaining Exactly. You know, I would rather somebody be like, hey man, thanks Rog for explaining this out to us, for helping us kind of see the light. You saved me a lot of money. Yes, I know that I'm shooting myself in the foot buying an 8 gigabyte GPU right now in terms of longevity, but so many people buy games on Steam and they legit just sit there in their backlog. They just sit there. And I'm pretty sure that like most people probably have a backlog of games that have run absolutely incredible on an 8 gigabyte GPU from 2025. So they're not completely useless. They're really not. I'm just trying to help people see that, like, look, they may not be as great at like the newer games, but they are far from useless. Far from useless. And I've played so many games over this last, you know, couple of like a month or whatever. What's it been, like a month and a half since I got the 9060 XT? It's been a while, dude. Like, it's been a while. Like, I've been playing on these 8 gigabyte GPUs mostly. And here I am, dude. I'm still having fun. So, all right, my friends, that's enough out of me for this one. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Have fun.